A reporting on the essay, What is Community? An Evidence-Based Definition for Participatory Public Health by Anna Kerwood and Lauren Talbot. The point of the study is to examine whether members of diverse United States communities describe community in similar ways. The study also found that the participants described a need for an agreed-upon definition of community, as it will help with the public health of that specific community. The participants of the study include 25 African Americans from Durham, North Carolina, 26 gay men in San Francisco, California, 25 injection drug users in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and 42 HIV vaccine researchers from across the United States. All were asked about what community meant to them. Their answers were then analyzed through cluster analysis. These groups were picked and were analyzed all the way back into their community's historical experience, and how that experience could affect the participants' definition of community. Cluster analysis is when similar ideas are grouped together. The importance of a definition of community in public health programs is that within agreed-upon definition, there are no contradictory or incompatible assumptions about community. These wrong assumptions or contradictions can impede with the success of public health organizations, which try and support education, health, and well-being services, and the sense of pride within a specific community. The data collection includes 76 face-to-face interviews. Interviews were tape recorded, transcribed into computer files, and coded by interview question. The results include scientists or gay men from San Francisco had a higher education than the participants that lived in Philadelphia and Durham. The majority of scientists and people that live in San Francisco have health insurance. The number of years lived in a neighborhood by group. Philadelphia, 16.5 years. Scientists, 17.2 years. African Americans in Durham, 5.7 years. Gay men in San Francisco, 2.6 years. Arguments. Two arguments can be found throughout the What is Community essay. One is that, no matter where you live or how you live, there are common and central themes that all communities use to define their own individual community. This means that with each different community, whether the differences be cultural, religious, and/or economical, the people within any community has found the 5 core elements of community, which ultimately helps create the acquired goal of finding a common definition for community. The next argument is that there needs to be a globally understood definition of community so that public health programs can be more useful. This means that if a community understands that the group they are a part of brings in the core elements of community, they can use that knowledge to help improve the well-being, education, and policies of that community.
Throughout the study, 17 distinct themes were found through the 113 definitions of community the researchers went through. The 5 core elements of community are locus, sharing, joint action, social ties, and diversity. The first central theme is locus, defined as a physical location or a place with people. The theme locus was talked about in 77% of interviews and was the most popular theme. People referred to locus as specific places, such as the bank, the park, and the supermarket. By thinking about community in this sense, you can physically be in a community without participating in the community at all. Another core element is sharing, defined as the existence of shared perspectives and common interests that contributed to a sense of community. People described a community as sharing values, norms, mindset, viewpoint, ideology, beliefs, visions, passions, obsessions, interests, likes and dislikes, opinions, concerns, activities, goals, objectives, symbols, jargon, skin color, and sexual identity. Another core element of community is joint action, which is defined as a source of cohesion and identity. To people who were surveyed, joint action meant wanting to be a part of the community. This would include socializing with others in the community, spending time volunteering in the community, staying informed as to what is happening within the community, and checking in on fellow community members to make sure that they are doing okay. Another core element is social ties, which is the foundation of a community. Social ties are the foundation of a community because they bring out the most important aspect, physical relationships with others. Some physical relationships with others include family, parents, siblings, roommates, lovers, friends, neighbors, coworkers, associates, and role models. These relationships bring out feelings of trust and comfort, which allow people to calmly interact with others on a daily basis. This interaction allows for individuals to create their own community of others like oneself, which enables people to feel safe and secure within their own community of people. Another core element of community is diversity, defined as social complexity within communities. Diversity was discussed on both a large-scale level and a smaller-scale level. Large-scale examples of diversity would include demographic and social diversity in the form of race, ethnic origin, socioeconomic status, sexuality, drug use, and profession. And a smaller scale example would be different levels of interaction between people from the intimate to the superficial. These graphs show the percent of people who talked about each element in their interviews. Graph A talks about core elements, joint action, locus, sharing, social ties, and diversity. Graph B lists group-based elements, divisive, leverage, pluralism, religion, and responsibility. Graph C represents stress elements, AIDS, criminality, drug use, non-existent, services, and unity. The impact of stress on a community. While criminality and drug use seem to have negative effects on communities, things such as AIDS or a severe trauma actually brought communities closer together. This is shown time and time again in movements such as Boston Strong or Houston Strong, etc. Community collaboration and conclusions. Part of this study included researchers working with a community advisory board in the areas of the U.S. that were studied. Through the surveys, researchers were able to find out that there is a need for multiple models of collaboration for public health research and programs. In other words, to make public health programs more accessible to the community, researchers and organizers have to get to know the community and what the community's specific needs are. The researchers of the study came up with a final definition of a community: a group of people with diverse characteristics who are linked by social ties, share common perspectives, engage in joint action in geographical locations or settings. This definition supports the fact that every community is different and has different needs.